Lee Zeldin, who is a member of the House Foreign Affairs Commission. All right, Congressman, what power does Congress have to do anything about this deal?
Well, a bad deal needs to be stopped.
But how do you do that?
Well, a deal needs to be presented to Congress for us to pass. With regards to the sanctions that were passed by Congress and signed into law, the president can't just unilaterally get rid of those sanctions. We also need to shed more light to what the president is negotiating with Iran. He's basically told the Iranians, if you want to keep your centrifuges, you can keep your centrifuges. If you want to keep your nuclear facilities, you can keep your nuclear facilities. He's obviously trying to cut a deal just to cut a deal, and the rest of us know that a bad deal is worse than no deal at all.
But do you even know what's in the deal? I mean, on June 30th, apparently this thing is going to be established. Everyone's going to sign it. Will Congress get a chance to even see this before June 30th?
Well, it's like the president is telling us and the American people that we're going to have to buy into the Iranian deal in order to find out what's in it. The president released a fact sheet with his framework agreement a couple of days ago. The Iranians immediately refuted the contents of that fact sheet. The Iranian foreign minister went onto Twitter and said it was just spin. It's a very dangerous game that the president's playing.
So what we have is two sides to a contract. We're spinning our side and saying this is a great deal, and they're saying everything that we're saying is totally wrong.
Right, so, and which means that you don't have
partly wrong, I don't know.
Which means you don't have an agreement at all. I mean, my constituents are pleading with the president. They're saying they're pretty pleased with nukes on top. Come clean on what both sides are willing to publicly agree to. He's misleading, the president's misleading the American public as to where we are currently with these nuclear negotiations, while at the table, Iran is playing them like a five-string quartet.
What about the lifting of sanctions? I don't quite understand. At what point do the sanctions get lifted? And is it all the sanctions at once, or is there a gradation of some sort?
Well, the president is going to try to unilaterally get rid of sanctions that were passed by Congress on his own. We don't know exactly.
Oh, the pen and the phone thing?
Well, right, because the president thinks of himself as a monarch. He is not only the president, but he is Congress, too, in his mind. It's important for Congress to stick up and defend itself as a separate branch of government to put a check on this president. I mean, it's clear that no nuclear facilities are going to be closed. No centrifuges are going to be destroyed. The Iranians can continue to pursue uranium enrichment, maintain their centrifuges in the current capacity.
Both of which give them the ability to have a nuclear bomb. But you know, what I'm reading, Congressman, is that there is talk that the breakout time, the time within which they'll be prepared to actually have a nuclear weapon, is 2 to 3 months. And with this new framework, it's now a year. So why is everybody talking about 15 years?
Well, the Iranians are, I mean, as Prime Minister Netanyahu said when he spoke to the joint session of Congress, that the Iranians look at a year or 2 months or 15 years in the life of a country as so much longer. So as the ambassador just said, the nuclear infrastructure is going to remain intact. Who knows if the Iranians would even allow access to weapons inspectors, because at the UN Security Council, they have the Russian vote.
Right.
I mean, the reality of where we are at today, at this moment in time, what's not being discussed is the ICBMs.
The intercontinental ballistic missiles.
That Iran is a state sponsor of terrorism, that they want to overthrow foreign governments, and they're pledging publicly that they want to erase Israel off the map. All
right, very quickly, no administration has ever confirmed that Israel has a nuclear bomb. President Obama declassified or unclassified that, and that has been a secret apparently since 1987. What does that tell you about this president?
Well, the president does not know who our friends are and who our enemies are. I don't feel like he's playing on the same team as me and my constituents. We need a stronger, more consistent foreign policy than what this president is playing. Patience and resolve lead us down two very different paths in the effort to defeat radical Islamic extremism and state-sponsored terrorism.
All right, Congressman Lee